statistics, of course, they change a little bit over time, but this has been pretty common in my years looking at this type of information. Research does suggest that up to 90% of our financial decisions are based on emotion. Now, that's big decisions and that's small decisions. And emotions do play an important role, but as you start to think through it, obviously the logic, the research, the facts, that may be where you want to kind of spend most of your time in terms of your thought process on making, especially big financial decisions. But they are always made using a blend of emotion and logic. Now, here's a couple more questions. And again, I want to pause and give you a chance to think and answer these two questions. You see them on the screen. What might happen if decisions were only made with logic? Like, forget emotions, just all logic all the time. And then conversely, what might happen if decisions were made only with emotion, just whatever I feel like in the moment? What are your thoughts? Let's see what you think here. Jenny says, might not be happy about it. Absolutely. What else? What if it was just logic? I mean, logic is probably, you're seeing here what we're trying to make sure is a part of the process that might not happen by default. But what if it was all logic? If it was all logic, you would spend less. That's a good point, David. That's almost for sure a given. Shakira says, yeah, it's jumping around on me. Sorry about that. We would never make them if it was only logic. That's a good point. Right. Elaine says, since there's the uncertain risk factor, I think emotion has to fill in that gap. And that's a good point too. Yeah, you never know, especially with something like investing or anything else that you do that's kind of a risk reward type situation. You got to be able to sleep at night, right? So that is a very good point. Deanna says it's no fun if it's all logic. That's true. I mean, I would, if I was just looking at the dollar and cents and what's going to be best on my total net worth statement, I would never take a vacation ever, right? And so, I mean, there's got to be some fun in there too. Michelle says logic would save money. Stephanie says I would have more money. Yes, that's probably true as well. Daniel says that kind of less joy if it's only logic, if it's only emotion, financial trouble. I think that is spot on. And everything that you are saying here, each of you in the chat queue, thank you. Very, very good responses. You're right on track. It's not an either or situation. I think the challenge, though, is just being aware of how heavy the emotional part of it is a lot of times by default, right? So in a vacuum, if we're not being intentional, there's usually going to be a lot of emotion that weighs into our thought processes and our decision-making process. So the trick is to not just completely get away from emotion at all. No, that's not the goal. But the goal may be, and what takes a little more effort sometimes, is to make sure that we are looking at it logically as well. And sometimes that is, again, what requires more effort. So the circumstances have a big impact, of course, on the mixture in terms of which way you might be leaning. But again, just something to think about in terms of up to 90% is based on emotion, according to a lot of research and studies.